All right, Gary Stokan of the Peach Bowl is here. What do you look at my notes? These are my notes. Gary Stokan of the Peach Bowl is here.
That's impressive. You have notes.
I do have notes. What do you think? You think I just sit here and make stuff up for 3 hours?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, you know me very well. Let's start with the game, Clemson and Georgia, and we'll go from there. It's a noon kickoff.
Noon kickoff.
This year. Is this because do you have plans at night?
No.
What is that?
ESPN had 3 games.
Yeah.
Florida, Miami.
That's a great game.
And Texas A&M Notre Dame. And because NBC controls Notre Dame's rights in most cases, whenever they play an SEC or ACC team and ESPN's involved,
right,
they want to put Notre Dame on primetime.
Sure.
They said, hey, you're playing in air conditioning. We can put you at noon, and it's not going to be as hot in Miami or as in the swamp at 4 o'clock, which –
good luck with that.
I know. But – so we're noon. Miami and Florida are at 3:30, and then 7:30 is Texas A&M Notre Dame. So we'll take it.
You have the best matchup.
Well, thank you. I think it's a great matchup. I go back to, when I was at Adidas in 81 and 82, I had Clemson and Adidas when they won the national championship, and the next year I had Herschel Walker and Adidas when Georgia won it.
What are you saying? You're saying we should win? We should wear Adidas?
Well, at that time, there's your Aflac duck with the old leather helmet on.
I like it. I like the Aflac duck. Is this a gift?
That's a gift.
It's a gift. All right.
We come bearing gifts. Here's a sandwich.
I got a sandwich. This is a card.
What else do you need?
But no,
I think we got
ducks.
a great game. Having 2 top 10 teams, and this is just the start because when you look at the rest of the season in Atlanta with college football, we have 2 teams, 2 top 10 teams in the SEC championship game.
Right.
Then the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, the CFP playoff, we have a quarterfinal game where we'll get one of the top 4 ranked champions of the conferences, which will more than likely, because of the contracts that exist between bowls, the Big Ten champ will play in the Rose Bowl in the quarterfinal. The SEC and Big 12, whoever's ranked highest, will go to the Sugar Bowl because of their contract they have. And so it's us in the Fiesta. Well, let's say it's the Big 12 that's behind the SEC. The Big 12 will probably play in the Fiesta Bowl.
Right.
And then the ACC would probably come to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So
nice.
Clemson probably wants to play 3 times in Atlanta, once in our Aflac kickoff game, once in our Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and then we'll host for the first time a city to host twice in the CFP era, the national championship game is in Atlanta, Georgia.
It's a big year.
Great year. 4 games, all top 10 teams in Atlanta this year.
All right. So who do you think from the ACC?
Well, I think
there's a lot of options.
I think you guys are voting Florida State and Clemson as being the top 2 teams.
I submitted my ballot for the ACC. I did not have Clemson as number 2.
I think North Carolina State's the sleeper.
A
lot of people are talking about Miami, depending on how Cam Ward steps up.
Right.
Obviously, depending on how, what's the kid from Coastal Carolina?
Oh, Grayson McCall.
Grayson. He steps up for NC State. It's become like the NFL. If you don't have a quarterback in college, you can't play.
You certainly can't win big. It's hard to win big.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I think North Carolina could be good without their great quarterback.
Yeah, offensive, defensive lines are very important. You got to have a lot of depth, and then you got to have a quarterback. And I think NC State has one. Miami has one if Cam Ward steps up.
That's right.
And Clemson, I think our game, going back to our Georgia game, and Clemson in the Aflac kickoff game, both teams are top 5 defenses.
Yep.
What quarterback, Beck or Klubnik's going to step up, play better against a tough defense, and then special teams, who turns the field punting-wise, or how many field goals can you kick? Because both defenses are going to keep you out of the end zone for the most part.
Avoiding turnovers, that's the old cliche.
Especially in big games and in first games of the year.
Gary Stokan from the Peach Bowl is joining us here. Kickoff game, the Aflac kickoff game. Here's the duck. Does this have a squeaker in it?
Yeah, it does. I think on the tail, if you somewhere.
No, I can't find a squeaker. It's not a dog toy.
It will say Aflac.
Oh, okay. It should. It should. Why isn't Dion here? Dion's busy. You and I like to talk about big picture things with you. Can you believe where we are with college? Because I think it's college football and athletics is being dragged. The rest of even basketball, the rest of it's being dragged with it. Can you believe where we are? We've been talking every year for I don't know a decade and a half. Do you believe where we are?
I hesitate because I think a lot of people are talking about money all the time now,
Yeah, all of it.
and we're not pro sports. And I'm glad the kids have an opportunity for their NIL if it were done the right way, right?
Right.
But now, you got collectives that are paying kids 17, 18-year-olds pay for play to come to your school.
Right.
And then you've got, with the transfer portal on top of that, if a kid doesn't play a week or he gets hurt and doesn't play or he has a bad week, you got all these hanger-ons between high school coaches, calling high school coaches or calling parents that are saying, hey, is Adam not happy there?
Right.
Does he want to transfer? I mean, what are we doing? College athletics, our mission should be, look, give a kid a chance at a scholarship, give him his education, get him a degree, and then get him a job. And so all these collectives, instead of pay for play on the front side, they should all be getting the 98% of the kids that aren't going to go pro, giving them a job.
Right.
And even the kids that go pro, if you look at NBA, there's 32 teams with no-cut contracts. The first-round kids are pretty much the only kids that make it. If you look at college football, let's say you got 5 kids on a team that ultimately, not drafted, but make the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's not until their fourth year of free agency where they make substantial money that changes your life. You're slotted your first 3 years. Right.
If you're a first round pick, you make a lot of money.
Pick,
but
you get the $15 to $20 million signing bonus. So, yeah, you're in good shape. But there's only
32 of those.
32 teams there, right?
Right.
So, what I'm saying is if you had 5 kids drafted and make the team, maybe 1 or 2 of them is going to get to their fourth year. So those 3 kids are even 25, 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They got to pick up a lunch pail the rest of their life. So to me, they should have created a situation where all this extra money is tied to you getting your degree. And then I have no problem how much money they put in a trust fund.
So you're an old school guy. So I appreciate that.
I'm an old school guy because I've seen what college athletics can do. And the other thing that I struggle with, what are we teaching these kids if they face adversity and they can just transfer? Right. I mean, life is full of adversity. Mm-hmm. Life is going to slap you in the face. And how you come out of it by facing adversity and what you do in building your character, that's how successful you're going to be. And so I'm not sure we're teaching the kids we need to teach them with some of the things we're doing. How many of these kids are transferring 2 and 3 times? How much are their credits transferring with them? JT Daniels just came out, real smart kid, 5-star, starts at Southern Cal, second year goes to Georgia, third year goes to West Virginia, fourth year goes to Rice. Now, he got his degree, but he said 80% of his credits didn't transfer.
How did he get his degree?
Yeah. I mean, because he's had 6 years because of COVID. Right?
Right, that's true.
But now they're not going to have COVID years. Right,
we're done with that.
So, to me, we've got to go back to our mission. Our mission is college athletics. And unfortunately, we asked the presidents to make decisions that they're not prepared to make because they don't know the ins and outs of the subject matter. It puts the presidents in very difficult positions.
Should athletic directors be making those decisions? I mean, ultimately, the university presidents have to make them. But should the athletic directors be talking through this? Or are they?
It's part of the problem of how we got here. Adam,
or is it too focused on the sport anyway?
Well, the athletic directors at some point put us in problems because if you go back, guys, probably 15, 20 years now, there was a lot of problems, a lot of NCAA compliance issues and problems. So the president said, hey, we're going to put a president in to run the NCAA. They put Mark Emmert in, and Mark Emmert cut the athletic directors out. And as soon as he cut the athletic directors and put it all in the president's hands, the presidents they didn't have the knowledge, so they couldn't cast a vision. And to be a leader, you got to know the subject matter so you can cast a vision of where you're going. And then you got to expect some heat. Well, presidents don't like heat, and they didn't know the subject matter. And so if 10, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we'd have said, look, every kid has a scholarship for life. If you don't get your degree in 4 or 5 years, you can come back and you're on scholarship still, number one. Number two, we're going to take care of your medical for the next 15 or 20 years or a lifetime. We'd have done that. And thirdly is if you get your degree, we got $50,000 or $100,000, name a number, in a trust fund that if you get your degree, you can access that money. If we'd have done those 3 things, we wouldn't have had any of the realignment. We wouldn't have had any of the issues that we have right now.
I've talked about this. Gary Stokan from the Chick-fil-A Bowl is joining us here on the Adam Goldschmidt Radio Row ACC Media Day. I talked about this for a long time, is that the insistence that the collegiate model and the denying athletes of name, image, and likeness rights and all of these things for so many years.
That's right.
Has led us to like an explosion of everything at once,
right?
Which has led to everybody trying, oh, we could do this, we could do this. That wasn't the way it was intended, and that's why we're here.
No, that's right. The pendulum swung so far from one side where we didn't do anything to now it's swung way too far the other way, and we've got to find going forward some happy medium. Again, not denying the kids any opportunity,
right?
But are you going to give a kid 18 years old, your own kid, a car that goes 150 miles an hour? You give him the keys to that car?
I would not.
No, because and we were all young men, teenagers. We all thought we were bulletproof. Well, athletes think they're super bulletproof,
right?
But yet we're giving kids 18 years old these cars, and what do you expect to happen, right? It's just a shame we've reached this point. Now, it's the new norm, so don't be the old man sitting on the porch.
Right.
You got to deal with it. You got to make the best effort you can with it. But again, let's not forget these 98% of these kids that aren't going to go pro. Let's go get them jobs through these collectives rather than collectives giving money for pay for play.
All right, we have to. We're going to have to go here in a second. Do you have thoughts on the Strawberry Pop-Tart Memorial upstairs? Have you seen it?
No.
Come on, you got to go see it. The Strawberry Pop-Tart that was eaten last year.
I didn't see it.
See, like, can we eat we can't eat the duck.
I just worry about ducks and cows.
We can't eat
the cows of Chick-fil-A and the ducks of Aflac.
We can't eat the Aflac duck.
Joe, you got to be focused, right?
All right, but I'm just saying, the Strawberry Pop-Tart Memorial. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. 12-team playoff. Is it staying at 12?
I think we'll learn a lot. There's a lot of unintended consequences with this playoff.
Okay, give me an unintended consequence of the playoff. Gary
Stokan. There's 2 things I worry about. One is fans who have to travel to a conference championship game, and then a first-round game, and then a quarter, and then a semi, and then have Christmas, and then have to go to a championship game. That's a lot of money. These
absolutely.
algorithms of these airlines jack up the prices.
Sure.
And you've only got a week in between now. You don't have a month like we've had in the past where conference championship ended first week of December and the bowls were end of December into January. That's one. The second thing is the concern I have of first-round players getting a $20 million card from the NFL after the conference championship with a 1 on it.
Okay.
That guarantees them $15 to $20 million signing bonus and probably, I'll estimate a $30 to $40 million contract over 4 years. And everybody is hurt at the end of the season. Everybody's banged up. Now you're going to ask that kid to go play his conference championship and then go play at Ohio State, toughest team they played. Then the next week play Pickett, Alabama, toughest team they played. The next week go play Michigan, toughest team, and then go play Georgia.
Right.
I mean, and that's 17 games, and that's an NFL season, right?
I've said it. People think
So
that
that's an unintended consequence that we have to
right.
really look at. The agent and the parents in the kid's head saying, what are you doing here?
Right.
This is generational money. I think that's an unintended consequence.
I have said that for a long time. People think the opt-outs only happen in the lower bowls. We've seen them. Florida State had 28 players not play in their bowl game against Georgia.
In 21, we had Kenneth Walker, who was first-team All-American from Michigan State.
Right.
Played at Wake Forest for 3 years. Was the number one pick. And Tucker, his coach, Coach Tucker, told me he's had a bad ankle the whole year since game one.
Right.
So, he got the number one draft card. He's looking at $15 to $20 million signing bonus and $30 to $40 million contract. He doesn't play in our bowl game. Kenny Pickett was first team All ACC and first team All American, at Pitt, and he had a bad foot and bad ribs, and got the number one pick, and
here you go.
He didn't play either.
It's going to happen.
And people came to me and said, "Well, why don't you give him $50,000 NIL money to play in your game?" I said, $50,000 when he's looking at $40 million.
Right.
What would you do?
Yeah.
So we got to look at that.
100% agree with that. Gary Stokan, it's always cool. I'll call you soon.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Affleck.
Have a great season.
It doesn't. I have
Thanks.
a defective duck. It's not making any noise.
You got a bad touch there. Give me that
must.
thing. I'll get him.
All right. Gary's going to work on the duck. We're going to take a break.